Hey everyone, I'm back with part 9 in this series. Today we're looking at Maschine MK2 as a control surface for Reaper, trying to keep a mouseless workflow or trying to make it feel, as close to hardware as possible. This gigantic project started over a year ago with Maschine MK3, and from there I just kind of got obsessed with tweaking every MIDI controller I could find in a similar way. So without wasting too much of your time, I'll try to keep this under 10 minutes. I'll show you the most important stuff. Every controller that I map needs to have an endless encoder that can function as a jog wheel, basically relative mode. So basically this is exactly what this does. It jogs by measure, and since it has the soft click feel when you turn it, it's like you can really dial in exactly where you need to go. These two buttons right here, volume and swing, function as previous and next track. When you click the encoder, it shows or hides the FX chain on that selected track. And up here is also FX chain, show or hide. So you could push the button here, or you could do this up here. And then this one has two effects on it. So this button right here says cycle FX. So what it does is it cycles the instruments and the FX and the FX chain. So that's how you do that. Tweak whatever you need and then close it when you're done. This sampling button is quick quantize. It just quantizes. If you record a MIDI clip really quickly, you don't even have to have it selected or bring up the MIDI editor. It just automatically quantizes it to whatever you last set your MIDI editor grid to. So obviously 16th note is pretty common, so it just kind of does whatever was last set. The browse button is basically the media explorer, show or hide that, which is really nice. Drag your samples in, drag your loops. All and auto are undo and then remove or delete. So this is, undo button, remove or delete. You saw that I deleted that MIDI clip. Tempo button is just tap tempo. These two arrows function as set time selection start and end, which is really handy if you want to just create a quick kind of MIDI loop. And what's really cool is when you set the end point, it jumps back to the start of the time selection, so it's ready to go, no matter what. Speaking of the time selection, you definitely want to have loop on. So this is the loop on or off button. Reaper calls it repeat, but everybody else knows it as loop. Let's see. Enter is insert marker. So if I, just jog wherever I want, and these two arrows right here jump between the markers, really easy. I'll undo those. And transport obviously is exactly what it is. Play, stop, or play/stop. Record, the erase button is stop because it's conveniently placed, so that's set to stop. Restart just rewinds to the beginning, so if you're way over here, you just hit restart and it goes to the beginning of the project. Let's see, arm selected track, so basically we could arm the one that's selected, or we could track down, disarm that one, track up, arm that. And then the middle column of buttons are really handy. So scene is basically toggle windows. So let's say you have, just a few FX chains open, such as this. Toggle windows basically just hides all the windows at the same time, which is really cool. It also opens them all up, so I tend to use this button as a hide windows quickly button. Pattern just inserts a MIDI clip. Let's say we have a time selection like that long, and if you hit pattern, it just creates a MIDI clip, and then it brings the playhead right back to the beginning of that time selection. So really easy to make something quickly. Pad mode brings up the MIDI editor for whatever item is selected. There's nothing in there, so there's nothing to show, and it shows and hides, which is really convenient. Navigate cycle floating windows. So again, let's say we have these two windows open. It basically just focuses whatever's in front. So that one's in front, that one's in front. Close them all. Super easy. Duplicate does exactly what it says. So let's say let's say we want to duplicate this clip, right? And then we want to put it right here. So you just literally click duplicate and it's done. You can just do it over and over if you want. Let's undo all that. And let's go scroll back. All right, so now, oh yeah, there's 3 more. This is select item or select anything on the selected track. So if we're here, we have that item selected, this one, that one, really handy. Okay, and then solo's the selected track, mute's the selected track. And okay, now the pages, all this stuff is really important. So the very first page is called items, and this is track volume. It's set to pickup mode, not it doesn't jump, which is really handy. Master volume, which I never really use. I use track volume more. Zoom vertically, zoom horizontally. Jog left and right again. This one doesn't click. Obviously, it doesn't have that soft click feel, but since I'm left-handed, I really prefer to use the jog wheel in my left hand. And then track up and down. You could just scroll through your tracks instead of doing your individual buttons like this. It's really handy if you have like 40 tracks in your project. This encoder right here is set to semitone up or down, so you could take whatever item is selected and just kind of turn it clockwise for semitone up, and then counterclockwise for semitone down. Really easy for just tweaking. It works for MIDI and audio items, so you could just kind of quickly adjust your pitch. It keeps the time stretch the same and everything. This encoder is really handy. This is basically move item. So whatever item you have selected, it will move that by the grid value. Now the grid value I have is set to 16th notes, and now it's set to eighths and quarter. Whoops, in the wrong window. Eighths and quarters. So now if I move, it's obviously quicker. So it's moving by quarter note this time. So really handy. Again, all this is mouseless, which is really cool. And let's see what else. Okay, so that's the main first page encoders anyway. And then up here, quick quantize within a time selection. I think they basically function the same way. Reaper is quirky sometimes, as we all know. Make region, that basically means any time selection you have, you could just turn it into a region really quick with that button. Clean, basically, like say you have this zoomed in like crazy, and you don't know where you are and everything's like gigantic. If you hit clean, it just kind of like zooms out to show the length of whatever track has the most stuff like within the timeline. Like it just kind of shows like the whole thing, which is really convenient. And then from there you can kind of zoom out a little bit and do the same thing. Really handy. These are all item edit stuff. Select item works the same as this. Split item, glue item, trim right edge. I always like to show this because it's one of the most handy things ever. So let's go over to here and we'll select this here. Whoops, wrong track. There we go. Select item, and then trim right edge. Basically just makes the loop as long or as short as you need. Really, really handy. Good stuff. All right, so then page 2, more item edit stuff. All the encoders. Hang on. Stupid alarm reminding me I have a lesson soon. All right. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, the encoders are exactly the same as the first page, but the buttons change a little bit. Previous item, next item on the track, it selects, items on the track, which is really handy. And then trim left edge if you need to do that for an item. Everything else is the same. And then page 3, direct marker access for markers 1 through 8. Direct region access for regions 1 through 8. This page right here changes a little bit of the encoders. This becomes master play rate. This is tempo by 1 BPM. This is reset the master play rate to 1.0. Show or hide the master track. Metronome on and off. I usually don't need like a quick metronome thing because I only have it enabled when I'm recording something, so I don't need to constantly be turning it on and off. This is master play rate, preserve pitch, which is really handy if you just want to hear how something sounds without altering the pitch of anything. Erase all markers, or remove all markers, remove all regions. Project tab left and right, so that's really handy if you have like 5 projects open at one time. You can just kind of bounce between them just with that. Again, mouseless. This next page are track templates. So if you anyone that's familiar with Reaper, track templates are really handy for your favorite plugins. If you preface if you preface the name, I think that's the word, whatever, I'm like super tired. If you start the name with a number like 01 and then the name of the plugin, like it'll actually load that specific plugin. So I just have like 8 track templates of your favorite 8 plugins. So you just hit this button and it'll load 01, you know, Tal Noisemaker, or 01 Valhalla Supermassive. You know what I mean? Really cool. And then let's see what else. This is a ARM, you know, direct ARM of, so you could ARM multiple tracks at the same time, 1 through 8. And then these encoders are track volumes for tracks 1 through 8. The second page is 9 through 16 and 9 through 16. So you can get up to 16 tracks, direct access of everything. And this next page is center all, or center the selected track, the panning, center all tracks, panning 1 through 8, volume at 0 for all tracks, volume at 0 for the selected track. Next page is pan for tracks 9 through 16. These are just MIDI functions. This is like a learn page, CC6 to CC13 channel 2, so it's like not used by anything. Set the current track to MIDI channel 1, 2, 3, or 10 for drums. Cycle MIDI record mode, that is really helpful when you want to do MIDI overdub and stuff like that. Select item and quantize, basically the same thing, you know, like this time you know, actually like select the item, and I think it brings up the MIDI editor. Select and edit, no, that's what that does. Select and edit, select the item, bring up the MIDI editor, and then regular quantize. Next page, all automation stuff, show and hide any automation envelopes on the selected track. Automation write, trim read, which is the common Reaper type, latch mode, touch mode, and then show or hide the envelope dialog on that specific track. So that's pretty handy. And still MIDI learn down here. So like these past few pages are all just the same MIDI learn CCs, which you can customize with the controller editor if you wish. This page right here is like map to channel 1 all the way to channel 8. So a lot of times with MIDI tracks, you want, like say your MIDI keyboard is like transmitting on MIDI channel 1, but you want it to route to like channel 7 or something like that, so you don't interfere with other stuff. That's what this is for. So it'll be transmitting on channel 1, you're playing all your MIDI stuff on channel 1, and then it's actually mapping to say like channel 5. You know, really handy, so you don't interfere with you know, MIDI messages and MIDI notes. And that, oh yeah, these last few pages, another MIDI learn page. This is channel 14, so it's far from anything that'll interfere with anything. CC 0 to 7 for the buttons, 41 to 48 for the encoders, and then there's another page that just continues the numbers 8 through 15, and then it jumps up to 51 to 58 just to keep a number consistency. And that's it. That's pretty much all the pages. It's really powerful. It's really easy once you get used to the muscle memory. There's, you know, nothing to this. So if you guys have any questions, please comment below. If you have any requests, concerns, anything. Also, if you found this video helpful in some way, please subscribe. Please like the video. It helps me break through somewhat the YouTube algorithm, which, you know, unless you have 10,000 subscribers, nobody really sees your stuff. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to check this stuff out, and I will try to be as consistent as I can with more of these videos. I still have to do Machine Studio, Machine Jam, a couple other ones, but oh, and the Novation SL Mark III, which is my main controller that I use most of the time. So again, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Be awesome to each other all the time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.